Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope your guys' week has gone good. It's Friday. I mean, I love Fridays, so there's that. Alright, I told you guys I was probably gonna make a video for the Thursday live stream of MLB The Show with the presentation and commentary. And yeah, here's the video. I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet though, because there's a lot to cover. Alright, so starting off, they have multiple broadcast display packages. And that's basically just different score boxes for games. Like there's a theme 1, 2, and 3. All of them are different. And it basically depends upon, if you're a big market team or not. Like, they have a different starting lineup theme, which is like a 3D overlook of the stadium. Well, I think all of them are overlooked at the stadium, basically. Well, I think there's different areas, but either way, they are. Like, theme 1 is basically a national theme. Theme 2 is like an in-between, and then theme 3 is almost like a local broadcast. Like, I don't know, like if it's just on your local station, for that state or whatever. That's kind of what that looks like. It's not a huge feature or anything like blowing my mind, but it just makes the game more interesting, and it won't make it so stale seeing the same broadcast, like starting lineups and broadcast like score boxes up in the corner of the screen every time. And each of those score boxes do have different layouts, so like you'll have bases on all of them, but then sometimes the outs will be in like red dots, and then some will say out one physically. Pretty cool feature. It's not anything major or anything. It's just a cool little touch that I thought that was cool that they added. And then they also have cinematic Road to the Show presentations. Like they showed it off in the Road to the Show live stream, like one small snippet. And it's basically just like a cutscene with like, I think, music. Not like cinematical music or whatever. Theatrical music almost. I don't know, instrumental music. Cutscenes and like the big moments, like call-ups, basically is what they're going to focus on, I believe. Could be wrong, but small or cool presentation feature. So they have player and crowd reaction systems, better reactions to different moments. Home run celebrations, no doubt home run reactions, McCutcheon tip of the cap, and the handoff that he does when he walks around the bases or jogs around. Crowd looks good as well, like when they cheer for the home run, it kind of looks just like last year, but oh well. There's just a bunch of different post-game celebrations, like once the game ends and they all go towards the middle, like center field, and then they like jump or whatever. All different ones, or there's a lot of different ones. They're not going to be all different, but they look they added a lot more to make it more interesting, because it's always the same thing. Like they always jump up in the middle. It's totally different. So yeah, they really focused on how things were going on around the league, injuries, trades, and recent performances. Like throughout, like I believe that's for Inside the Show. And then hybrid presentation, it gives the broadcast feel, but it basically trims it down to the things that they thought were important. Like you're not going to miss out on, like, if it was a ground ball, you're not going to miss out on anything. It's just going to skip right over that. Like, if you had broadcast on, you'd probably see a cutscene from that, but they figured that's not that important. They don't need to show you. And then Inside the Show redesigned format. That's basically what that is, where they're going to focus on injuries, trades, and recent performances. And it's basically get the info, like, right away. So, like, if a team were to have, like, 20 hits, they'll let you know, like, in the news right away, like, about that team. It's not a huge, major improvement to Inside the Show, but you still hear, like, the trades and all that other stuff. Like they said in the stream, like, it was the Royals, they recalled Carlos Vargas from AAA. Just some other small stuff around there that I thought was pretty cool. Nothing too major here at all, to say the least, but oh well. I expected them to expand on it just a little more, but the expanding, it's glad, like, you get the big key information right away at the beginning of each game, but I wanted them to expand to maybe, like, they'll have, like, phone calls in. I almost have, like, a radio show. That's what I'd like to see from them. Hopefully they maybe could in the future. We'll see, I guess. Hundreds of new lines for Inside the Show. Like, if a team got swept, what they have to do, to avoid the sweep or whatever. Or not what they have to do to avoid the sweep, but I don't know what I'm saying. Like, basically, if they got swept or, something like that along those lines. And then they have this really cool thing that I thought. Aerial shots of the city, or, like, desert, obviously, for Arizona, when coming back from a commercial. And it's just basically a short snippet of real footage, and Matt Vasgersian points out, I think it's a little nice touch to have. It doesn't add a whole lot to the game. If you remember, like, the NBA series, I don't know if they still have it, but I know 2K15 did, where it showcased the city for a couple seconds. I wish they'd add, like, stadium aerial shots. Like, it doesn't even need to be in-game footage. It could just be a real stadium of, like, Miller Park or Turner Field, or, something like that. Not that big that they didn't add it, but it'd just be kind of nice to have that. They have emphasis on more realistic play-by-play timing, so he doesn't know like where the ball is going right away. Because before he would know like hit the third, and then he would like just hit the ball. It's like, how did you know it was going there? So I think there's more of a delay there now, and in my opinion, that got really annoying where he knew like where the ball was hit instantly. He's gonna point out references to open or closed roofs. Pretty cool. And then also the umpire personalities. They talk about, different strike zones and how they have calls. So, like, you can start, like, basically matching the names with that umpire and how their strike zone is, which is a cool feature. It's only a couple seconds per game. Cool, nice little touch again. Like, all these are just nice little touches that add so much to the game. Some of that was presentation, some of it was commentary. Here's some more commentary. So, I guess they wanted to add commentary that was dynamic. Intro areas, starting lineups, what you did during the year. Series last season, like, he's struggling. We'll see how he does in this game. And they showed some clips, and they went into depth on, like, specific player. Like Troy Tulowitzki, they talked about how he's drafted at college and why he wears the number 2 and everything. And then they would still, like, he'd say the story, and then the pitch would come and be like, okay, 0-1. Then he'd go back into the story while the pitcher's setting up for another pitch, and then he'd continue. And then he'd call the pitch, and then he'd go back into it again. It's pretty cool. Nice little touch. They did a lot of players, so we'll see what they all have. And we tried to make this as best as we could so it doesn't get very repetitive. So you won't hear the same why he wears the number 2 story all the time for Troy Tulowitzki. That would get very annoying. I'd be so upset if that's like, if they're just, I hope they did it right. That's all I ask, really, to be honest with you guys. I guess they have a greater variety conversation with the commentary. Basically, the announcers interact and have stories about the player while in the game. I just pointed that out for you. Create a whole new commentary system for memory so they can start a story in the beginning of the game, finish it in the middle or the end. So like they could basically start, how a player is doing or what this player is, and then they can continue like when his next at bat is up or something like that. They basically just scratch the surface of the system, so the announcers seem like, they almost bounce the ideas off of each other while still calling pitches and at the at-bat. They utilize the hard drive data block, and I was like, alright, they gotta explain what that is. And they didn't have data in-game before, so like stat-driven news and driven commentary, they didn't have that. They showed walk-up replies, like Anthony Rendon was up, they said he was 1 for 4 with a double, and then right away went into the stats about him. And then Troy Tulowitzki, 5th in the AL on home runs, and they talk about he's 5th in the AL on home runs, he's in the prime of his career. You'd expect to see the power like showcased right here, and he's having a great year. It makes, less stale, than before. That's all I can really add to that. It's just a cool feature how the announcers actually talk in real life. Recent pitch calls where the ball is like hit out to left field into the gap. That got so annoying, because if you hit a ball in the gap, oh yeah, that ball is going to get down to the left field into the gap every single freaking time. Like, that happens, and it kind of sucks, but whatever. They basically, I think they basically took that line out, and they took a lot of the repetitive lines. Now it's basically just short and sweep, and they let Matt call the game without getting extremely annoying, and basically like pop-ups, bunts, grounders, and everything were touched up, like just to have it short and sweet. And then player-specific names. They showed a snippet of Solano, I think, on the Padres, diving, and they actually said his name, and like that was a nice play. And then Eric Harros went into it how like that was a great play or whatever by Solano, because they'd always say like, oh, he's got it, and it got so annoying because it's like, just say his name. So obviously player names are more in the game. Like, we got it fielded, great stops, great dive, etc. The announcers don't like cut each other off anymore when they tried to make a comment on the play. They kind of wait till one finishes or something along those lines. And they're trying to make the announcers get more excited about the games that they're announcing, because obviously it's Matt Vasgersian, like when he records, he sits in front of a white wall with a bunch of lines. He can't really get excited because the play is not actually happening. That shouldn't be an excuse. It's just like, I'm just saying, like, that's, at least if they make him, because Matt Vasgersian is hilarious in like real life. Like, he is a funny guy, and I like to see them add more like comic lines that he does in real life and whatever during games. Then they have this new thing called Apex lines. Fly balls create more anticipation. You'd basically know where the ball is going, like once it left the bat, because the lines were so generic and repetitive. But now it's like they kind of add anticipation, like if the ball was hit, like he's going back, or whatever they say his name. Like Ellsbury's going back, he catches it. Upton's going back, whatever. So you really don't know what's going to happen now. Like, obviously the ball trail is going to be there, but it's not just like, oh, it's popped up to right, and you'd be like, oh, okay, I know where this is going. It's not going to be a home run because I already know that. And then now, instead of being like, they'd have, okay, a fly ball hit to like center. and then it'd be it'd say absolutely nothing, and then, oh, he's got it. Now it's like, fly ball hit to center, he's going back, Ellsbury's going back, and, something like that. And then, like, they just talk throughout the whole play. I can't really make a description of it, but they talk throughout the whole play, pretty much. Fly balls, ground balls, whatever. Strikeout calls, pitch setups, hit calls, and play results. They added more variety and yanked the very repetitive lines, like I said earlier. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to this game now. Like, they seem like they did a lot within this game, and I like to just see it in action. They did a whole game. I thought the gameplay was really solid. Obviously it's not perfect yet, but it's solid gameplay. Showed out the presentation and commentary very nicely. So yeah, guys, that's really my opinions and thoughts on this. Make sure to like this video, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. I will talk to you guys on Wednesday when I get back from Nebraska. Alright, see you guys.